Hello everyone, this is part 13 of What If Naruto Failed and Chose a Different Path, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. The group made its way to Tazuna's house by nightfall, completely exhausted from the traveling, with the exception of Slade and Naruto, who were the pure definition of stamina. Father, you're home. Oh, thank goodness, I was so worried, said the woman with dark navy blue colored hair, dark colored eyes, wearing a pink shirt, and navy blue shirt that went down past the woman's knees. Hey Tsunami, my super daughter of a woman. Sorry I took so long, but I ran into some problems. Fortunately, I had help getting past it with these two super teams of ninjas right here. Everyone, this is Tsunami, my daughter. Tsunami, these are the super strong ninjas who got me here at the cost of their own lives, said Tazuna, introducing the group to his daughter. Thank you for returning my father home to me. Without him, the bridge we're building will never be completed, and our poor village, much less the entire country of Wave, will be consumed in poverty, said Tsunami, bowing her head out of respect to the two teams, with each member bowing politely in return. I'm letting them stay here till I can get the bridge set up and so they can stop the super Junin guy Gato hired to kill me, said Tazuna, getting some sake from the fridge while his daughter gasped at his words. You mean the person that Gato hired to kill you is still alive? Said Tsunami, as she was now worried that the attacker may come here. There were complications in killing him. However, you need not worry about the Junin, Tsunami-san, as the attacker received heavily wounds in fighting us. He will not be able to recover for some time, giving all of us a chance to prepare for the conflict ahead, said Slade, stepping forward, his voice filled with calm collectedness, killing all the worry the woman had within herself. Upon seeing this interaction, Kurenai couldn't help but feel a twinge of jealousy, though she hid it well, keeping a passive face mask on. Don't worry Kurenai, Slade-san is just calming her down. He's not flirting with her, and even if he was, why should I care? It not like I love him or anything. Right, thought Kurenai as she tried and failed to stomp on the jealousy she felt at the moment. To the Genjutsu mistress's credit, it was hard to do, considering she noticed that the other woman's face had a significant increase in its color, forming a very light blush. Thank you for your kind words, sir, they mean a lot to me. I'm sure my now slightly intoxicated father has already told you about the two spare rooms and the couch, said Tsunami as she tried to keep the blush rising from her cheeks down in front of the metal masked figure whose words gave her comfort. Yes, I did. The woman and the two girls can have the room to the right, and one of the guys and the boys can have the left, while one of you two guys has to have the couch to sleep on for the night, said Tazuna, showing the two rooms were right next to each other, as was the living room couch next to them. I'll keep watch the entire night over the house to ensure everyone gets some rest, so I won't need the couch to sleep, said Slade, knowing he could make a clone if he had to and then sleep inside his cell within Naruto. In the meantime, I'll prepare dinner for all of you, so get unpacked, said Tsunami, as she felt so happy to have guests, seeing as she never really had any other than a few of her old friends in the village. After everyone put their things down in the two rooms, they got settled down. They all sat at the table waiting for the food that was about to be served. Shortly after sitting down, the front door opened, revealing a young boy no older than 8 years old with sad-looking eyes coming in to sit down at the only remaining seat at the table. Hello Inari, say hello to our guests. They all helped save your grandfather earlier today from a sly assassin when they were escorting him here, said Tsunami cheerfully as she began putting each of their meals she prepared on the table. Some of us more than others, said Naruto, smirking while looking at Sasuke and Kiba, who both glared at him to shut up. At an undisclosed location, Zabuza was sitting on a bed at his hideout, resting from his battle, not liking the fact that he had lost to someone like that Slade guy. There was something off about the guy that Zabuza didn't like, and when Zabuza's instincts told him that it meant to be careful. So the great demon of the bloody mist is down for the count after facing a couple of kids and some metal masked faced freak. I'm starting to think I'm not getting my money's worth when it comes to paying you, Zabuza. Maybe I should just have you killed right now and spare myself the agony of deflating my wallet so much, said the short man with sunglasses with a cane in hand named Gato. The man walked over to the masked ninja, reaching out to strangle him where he was along the end when a hand came out of nowhere and grabbed his, twisting it at an angle that broke it. You will not hurt Zabuza. I won't allow it, said the hunter ninja, no longer masked, revealing it to be a young girl, much to the older man's surprise. Hey, put our boss down, or, said the samurai bodyguard named Zori, reaching for his sword, as did his samurai partner Waraji, only to be stopped by a pair of needles hitting the pressure points that controlled the arm muscles, rendering them useless. You'll pay for this, girl. I expect you and Zabuza to finish the job you started, and if you fail I'll find someone who will, after eliminating you two from my employment, said an angry Gato, who now walked out of the room with his broken arm with his now useless bodyguards. Haku, you know you didn't have to do that for me. I could have taken care of it myself, worse came to worse, said Zabuza as he had a kunai under the bed sheet ready to use and K the man if need be. I know, but I'm your tool, and as a tool I must always protect my master regardless of your condition, said Haku, smiling her girl-like smile while Zabuza sighed. When I get better I'll see to it that guy with the metal face and one eye pays for putting me in this condition. Not only that, but I'll K his student and send the corpse back to their village's Hokage, said Zabuza, frowning as he saw that both ninja were very much scared in the way of the sly arts. Do you have to K the boy, Zabuza-san? He's actually kind of cute in a very dark and very mysterious sort of way, said Haku, pouting as she had found the boy to be quite a thing of beauty in her mind. Zabuza didn't answer, not wanting his tongue to betray him, and just let the question hang there as he rested. Meanwhile, back at Tazuna's home. The entire time Inari was sitting down, he didn't say anything as he just sat there leaning forward with his face on the table and his arms covering most of his face. Inari, say something to our guests, you're being rude, said Tsunami, scolding her son as she put the bowl of food in front of him as he sat up. I'm not hungry, said Inari, getting up from the table after getting a quick once over of the group around him at the table. I'm sorry everyone for the inconvenience my son has placed on you. I will reprimand him for his rudeness later before he goes to bed, said Tsunami, bowing her head to show she was sorry to her guests. It's quite all right, Tsunami-san. The boy has probably had a bad day, said Slade, taking a sip of his drink as he had yet to touch his food as everyone, but Naruto noticed. Slade-san, why don't you remove your mask? I mean, you have to eat sooner or later. Right, said Sakura. She was like the others except Naruto, curious as to what the man looked like beyond the metal that covered his face. Please, Slade-san, I would really appreciate it if you would try some of sushi I prepared, as it's quite fresh from the old fishing area where I got 'em today, said Tsunami, who didn't notice the slightly hostile glare from Kurenai, who felt this woman was intruding into the matter more than she should, even though her excuse was believable than most. Slade put a hand on his metal masked covered face and sighed a heavy sigh as he would like nothing more to eat, but alas he could not. It's not that I don't want to, my dear, but it's a private fact between a very select few that I can't remove this mask that protects my face. You see, my face is heavily scarred from countless years of wars and battles with many foes that I have fought. If you saw what was beyond this mask it would scare you to the brink of insanity, and I dare not do that to you, said Slade, who gave it to Akamaru, who due to siding with Naruto in previous encounters had not been given any of the food that Kiba had as a form of punishment to the white hired dog. Hey, don't give him any of that. He's been bad so he doesn't get any, said Kiba, who reached for the bowl only to have Slade's metal covered hand grab Kiba's wrist as he squeezed it hard. Leave the dog alone, boy. Since you are going to be training along with Akamaru, he will need, if not require, all the strength he can get out of the food I've given him. Without him having a good stomach full of food tonight, Akamaru's performance tomorrow will suffer, making your training most taxing for you and the others. So just shut up and eat the food given to you like a good boy before I put you on the out of action list, said Slade, glaring hard at Kiba, who only gave the one-eyed man a nod before the said one-eyed man let the boy's wrist go. Speaking of training, I want you, Slade-san, to train me so I can get stronger, said Sasuke, getting to the point, though it sounded more like a demand than anything else. Oh, and what makes you think you're worth my time? I only desire to train one student, and Naruto is currently that student, so the answer is no, said Slade, taking a sip of his drink before smiling at Tsunami as the drink she made was good to taste on his tongue. The said action made the woman blush lightly again at what she assumed was a smile from the way the eye closed, and he nodded his head towards her. Meanwhile, one Sasuke Uchiha was livid that he was being passed over for some last moron who failed at the academy the last 2 times. What do you mean you only train one student? I'm an Uchiha prodigy and the #1 rookie of the year at the academy. If you trained me I could learn faster than this loser ever could, said Sasuke as he had now risen from his chair in a loud fashion, thus ruining the peaceful moment between Tsunami and Slade, making the latter of the two angry. Anger that was made known as Slade grabbed Sasuke by the face with his hand, lifting the Uchiha off the ground. The move was a sheer surprise to nearly everyone in the room, with the exception being Naruto, who knew it was coming. Let me tell you something, Uchiha, I don't train snobs who think they are better than everyone else just because they come from a prestigious clan. I train those who want to earn the right to be called ninja and those who will push themselves to the brink of death to achieve it. They must earn it through blood, sweat, tears, and to a degree be willing to surrender their very soul for it. You have none of those qualities, as all you want to do is just K someone with your hate-filled and nothing more, not caring who gets in your way. You'd K your own mother to K this man if she wasn't already said Slade, throwing the boy lightly back as he now stumbled back, hitting the wall behind him. Sasuke-kun, are you all right? Said Sakura, trying to aid her crush up from the ground only to be knocked away by the angry-looking Uchiha. I'm fine, I'll be going to bed, said Sasuke, leaving without another word, slamming the room door loudly, nearly making some of the things in the house fall over. Sorry about that, Tsunami-san. However, I do stand by what I said, as the boy has too much hate in him that is becoming destructive to him and those around him, said Slade towards a still shocked Tsunami before looking at the rest of the group to address them as well. We should all go to bed so we can all get up bright and early to start the kids' training, said Kakashi, heading towards the boys' room, followed by Shino, Kiba, Akamaru, and lastly Naruto, who looked over at Hinata real quick as if he wanted to say something to her, but decided against it before entering the room. The girls did the same, with Kurenai looking at Slade for a moment, looking like she had been hit by him in some shape or form before entering the room with the others. Sigh, looks like I'll have to talk to her tomorrow, thought Slade to himself, as he was only being his charming self to make Tsunami happy, as he could sense the loneliness she had even though she had her son. It was clear that Kurenai thought he was flirting with the woman and not being his nice to her in the politest way imaginable. Well, no rest for the wicked, said Slade as he took his watch over the house with several shadow clones as the others slowly got ready for bed and went to sleep. Next day, when Kakashi said bright and early, no one, not even Kurenai, expected him to mean 6 a.m. in the morning, as he woke him up and took them to an open area near the house filled with tall trees. Okay everyone, today we'll be practicing chakra control by climbing these trees, with no hands, claws, and out off or bugs, said Kakashi before showing him visually what to do when they told him it was impossible. Kakashi-sensei, I already mastered tree walking and water walking with Slade-sensei. If you want I can show you a more advanced version of tree walking, said Naruto, smiling behind his cloth-like mask, as was Slade behind his metal one. Oh, I've never heard of an advanced tree walking exercise. Show me then, Naruto, said Kakashi calmly, though he secretly kept his guard up as the others watched as he walked up the tree like nobody's business and was now several feet away from the Junin on a vertical level. Are you ready? Said Naruto calmly, not moving from his spot, ready to make his move that would throw Kakashi off his balance. For what? Said Kakashi, feeling his hair on the back of N rise up as he felt he was going to regret those two little words. This, said Naruto, who began fighting a surprised Hitaki Kakashi, who had to think quickly and adjust the chakra at his feet as he now spar with an exceedingly fast Naruto. Everyone watched in with surprise, anger, and for one Hyuga Hinata in awe, as the one she admired, that was Uzumaki Naruto, was putting the famous copycat ninja Hitaki Kakashi on the defensive with several close calls in knocking him off the tree. After a good 5 minutes, the older of the two fighters was forced off the tree onto the ground after dodging a sweeping spin kick. Very nice, Naruto. It's good to see you haven't lost any of your chakra control with all the heavy weights on your arms and legs, said Slade, who was now clapping at Naruto's performance, making everyone else become shocked that the boy did that under heavy weight conditions. Thank you, sensei, I am to please, said Naruto, bowing from his current vertical location on the tree. Since you have already done such a heavy-duty version of exercise, Naruto, you'll guard Tazuna today at the bridge while I help the others with the standardized version of tree walking, said Kakashi, making a mental note to try and have either Naruto or Slade train him in that exercise. See you guys later. Bye, Hinata-chan. said Naruto, winking at the girl who couldn't help in blushing a great shade of red that would have put Kurenai's eye color to shame before he disappeared in black and orange flame from using the Foxfire teleportation jutsu. I'm going to scout around the village while helping Tsunami with her grocery shopping as she needs to get what food she can from what stores have them, said Kurenai as she knew that even though Tazuna was the intended target to K didn't mean his family was off limits either. I'll join you seeing as I have nothing better to do. I can help point out what is good food for me and with my enhanced sense of smell. That way you can determine what smells fresh from what's rotten that looks fresh, said Slade, ignoring the female ninja's glare as she hadn't forgotten his flirting from yesterday. Fine, let's hurry up before all the good food is taken, said Kurenai with a hint of venom in her voice, making Kakashi smirk beyond his mask, seeing the relationship between the two was getting a little shaky. You are lucky I like you, Kurenai, or you would find yourself like all the others who have been hostile to me as they become and buried, said Slade in a whisper into her ear before the two vanished in flame and swirl of leaves. An hour later at the bridge, Naruto was leaning against a concrete pillar with sword at the ready with his eyes closed, but other senses wide open. Just because Zabuza was out of action for about a week did not mean he couldn't order missing ninjas around. It was more than likely the Junin had with him more ninjas like that hunter ninja that saved him to finish what he started. He asked Tazuna if he could assist him with shadow clones, but the older of two respectfully declined. Sorry Naruto, but if I do that then the guys here won't get paid as much and they need all the money they can get to support their families. Maybe during this week when they have off on Thursday you can do it on the less complete areas to help finish the bridge faster, said Tazuna, who got a nod from the man as knew these guys needed all they could get from this country. Shortly after that little talk, one of the workers named Jichi now walked up Tazuna with a tired and grim look on his face. Almost immediately Naruto looked to see if Than was under any kind of genjutsu or ninjutsu effect to take out Tazuna. Fortunately, for the both of them the man was under neither as he reluctantly started talking to Tazuna. I'm sorry Tazuna, but I don't think I can do this anymore with my wife and all. I don't want either of us to I mean it all seems so hopeless in beating Gato with all the manpower and resources he has backing him up, said Jichi, who like Naruto saw Tazuna scowl at the man for his cowardice. Get off this bridge. You're fired. I don't want anyone who works for me to be a coward when making this bridge. This bridge is the future for our country as are our children that we see grow before our eyes. I want this bridge to be a bridge of hope, not a bridge of fear for those who are afraid to do what they must to protect that future. Naruto, see that his guy gets escorted off the bridge and have one of your shadow clones you told me about take his place, said Tazuna, turning around and walking away from the man as he put his hard hat back on his head to get back to work before the lunch hour started. Yes sir. Shadow clone jutsu, said Naruto, summoning two shadow clones to assist him in removing the man from the bridge and replacing the man's current working position on the bridge. After this happened, Hyuga Hinata came by to assist him in his guard duties as she had since she was born already mastered her chakra control under the guidance of her mother and other Hyuga instructors in order to master her bloodline limit once she activated it. Hello Naruto K-kun. IIC came to assist Yu in G guarding T Tazuna-san, said a now stuttering Hinata who couldn't believe she was stuttering yet again in front of her crush. Sure Hinata-chan, I would love for you to join me in my duties. It will give us a chance to talk, but first. Shadow clone jutsu, said Naruto as he created a small army of shadow clones to cover the bridge that could watch over everything without anything getting by him. There are so many shadow C clones. Solid shadow C clones too. Thought a mentally stuttering Hinata as she was become more impressed with her Naruto that she wanted to confess to him how much she cared for him more and more. Meanwhile with Salde, Kurenai, and Tsunami. Slade, Karenia, and Tsunami all walked through the town for food with the help of Slade using his senses that he told them he had acquired in order to compensate for the loss of his one eye he claimed he lost in a battle so long ago that only the Farnotium pain it gives off can remind him of it. Tsunami seemed sad to hear that as it seemed that being a ninja was a more hazardous life than one would think. Kurenai rolled her eyes when she blinked so Salde wouldn't see it as he couldn't believe he was telling her this. This guy is like all the others telling war stories so they can get into bed with all the ladies who will hear their sob story even if he secretly was a demon lord, thought Kurenai as she watched Slade pick up a piece of fruit before declaring it was still good and should be used for tonight's meal. While Tsunami went off to take care of some things in one of the shops, leaving Slade and Kurenai alone for a moment, the nine-tailed demon lord. He turned to his face quickly to the Genjutsu master with a scowl on his face from the way his eye narrowed at her that for a moment she feared he would K her. "What is your problem?" said Slade in an icy tone as his nicer, more charming voice was no longer there. What are you talking about, Slade-san? Said Kurenai, stuttering slightly at him as she couldn't believe his voice had changed immediately. "Ever since this morning and of last night you have been cold to me whenever you are near me, and while that may work with the idiots and fools of your village you talk to, I'm not one of them. Is it that I am being all so nice to the woman Tsunami that we have been escorting and protecting the entire time?" Said Slade, making the woman now scowl back at him, but compared to his look more like a pout than a scowl. "I don't know what you are talking about, Slade," said Kurenai, not daring to meet his one eye that now seemed to be boring into her soul. "You think I have feelings for Tsunami, don't you? You can't deny it, my dear, as it's clear you have the ever-recognizable stench of a woman's jealousy all over you. I find it funny you never got jealous when I was with you and Anko at the bar back in Kohona. Maybe Special Junin was right when she said you had a crush on me like the one Hinata has on Naruto," said Slade, now seeing the woman look at him in shock at his words before her anger took over and she pulled out a kunai, trying to plunge it into his chest area. "Lies," said Kurenai, though it was she who was the liar, as she had indeed had and still did have a crush on the demon lord, as he had been nothing but supportive, kind, and considerate of her feelings up to being near Tsunami. So yes, she did feel jealousy, but she wasn't going to admit it as her pride just wouldn't let her. Slade grabbed the kunai holding hand by the wrist and pulled her towards him till they were face to face, eye to eyes, and metal-covered mouth to mouth. "Listen to me, Kurenai, and listen well, my dear, as I will not repeat myself after saying what I'm about to say to you. I am only being sweet to this woman because she needs it right now, as she currently stinks like this town to high hell of depression and sorrow. Tsunami has lost a great deal in this place on more than one occasion, and if it wasn't for her father and son she would have probably killed herself a long time ago. What I am doing is giving her what little happiness I can give her to numb the pain in her heart that is echoed by both her father and at her son. Especially her son. If what you saw, exactly what I did last night, was any indication of just how strong the depression and sorrow is in this place. You want to be jealous of the woman getting all the attention, go ahead, as I'm not going to stop you in acting that way, but just remember that she hasn't exactly had the nicest life here, as you can plainly see," said Slade, not once looking away from her shocked eyes before he had released her worst from his hand before walking off, leaving Kurenai to her own thoughts, which weren't many at the moment, as she took in all that Slade told her. A moment later Tsunami came out with what she needed, looking worried as she only saw one of her two bodyguards standing there waiting for her. "Where is Slade-san, Kurenai? I thought I heard you two talking. I hope you didn't get into an argument," said Tsunami as she looked for Slade only to find him no longer around. No. Slade-san just told me he had to check up on Naruto for more training, that's all," said Kurenai, lying as she had snapped out of her shock soon after realizing that Slade was right and that she had been overreacting in regards to him flirting with the client's daughter. It was even clearer to her as she and Tsunami walked along to do more errands other than shopping when a young girl approached the Genjutsu mistress and held out her hands for food, if any, that Kurenai might have on her. Fortunately, she did, as it was a small ration bar that were used on field missions that tasted pretty bad after the first one, but when she considered the fact that this girl was hungry, taste didn't really matter at this point. That poor girl, thought Kurenai, as she and the others had to fix this place up soon, or else there would be more children like that little girl begging for food. With Naruto and Hinata hours later, both Naruto and Hinata sat in their own secluded area of the bridge away from the prying eyes of the construction workers, enjoying their time together. The shadow clones Naruto created were doing the job well, as they, like the original, were on high alert and ready for anything. "So how did your tree-walking chakra control exercise go with Kakashi?" said Naruto as he wanted to know about her, as he felt it was important. It went well, Naruto K-kun. Though Sakura-san beat me because she has so little chakra, which allowed her to get you up the T-tree be better than any of the others, said Hinata, who found her face cheering beet red at being so close to Naruto and actually talking to him, though she was slightly depressed that she didn't do as well as the pink-haired female ninja. "Don't worry about her, Hinata-chan, she's just a shallow Sasuke fangirl. Your skills, if not your born talent, make you much more scared than her any day of the week. To say otherwise would be a lie, said Naruto, holding her hand, making her blush deepen even more at the praise she was getting from her. Naruto. Am I interrupting something? Said Slade, making his appearance known to the two, making the poor girl squeak before passing out in her Naruto-kun's arms. Well, aside that we were talking and making Hinata-chan pass out, no. What do you want, Slade-sensei? More training, said Naruto curiously, as the two would normally talk via mental link when need be. We're heading back to the house for the day. I asked half of your clones to escort him a few minutes ago, seeing as he was about to leave for the day. Wake her up and let's go, said Slade, as he remembered what he told Kurenai earlier before coming to get Naruto. Okay. Hey Slade-sensei, I was wondering, what sort of training should I do when I'm not on guard duty? I don't want to get rusty and stuff after all, said Naruto as he gently tried to awaken Hinata up. We'll train tomorrow in your taijutsu, ninjutsu, and more importantly your Jaganai's power to help with your genjutsu, said Slade right before the girl woke up, bluing once more, but to a degree where she would faint again. Sorry Naruto K-kun, said Hinata, trying to get in an apology, at least, as she did not want Naruto to think she was some pervert or floozy and fainted on purpose to be closer to him. It's all right Hinata-chan. Come on, let's go back to Tazuna's and eat a well-deserved meal before we lose out, said Naruto, hugging her slightly tighter, making her blush even more, as did Naruto at the contact. At that moment, not one of the three on the bridge there noticed a certain masked female fake hunter ninja watching them as they headed home. That ninja was none other than Haku, who felt jealousy filling her masked face at seeing the girl being all affectionate to Naruto hearing their conversation. The boy was special, she knew that, and so too she saw that to a degree the girl was too. It was clear why the two were a fitting pair, but all the same Haku wanted the boy, and this girl named Hinata was in her way, meaning that if she were to get what she wanted, Haku would have to eliminate the compassion soon. She had week to get ready when Zabuza recovered to bring in some rain and mist ninjas that had gone rogue and followed her master. Then when she faced this Hinata girl on the bridge, she would do what she needed to do to become a true shinobi and get Naruto. I'm going to KU Hinata, and with you out of the way Naruto will be all mine, thought Haku as she disappeared in a swirl of wind to report back to her master at her discovery. Tazuna's house. Naruto, Slade, and Hinata came about an hour before the other genins did, who were 100% completely exhausted, with the one exception being Sakura. Since she had almost near perfect control, she had been sent back to the house. During that time she did nothing except watching over it while everyone was out, every so often looking out the window to see Inari sitting by the dock or walking around with his face staring at the ground. When the genins did return home, they were greeted to the smell of warm cooking that was just what their stomach needed. Oh good, you're back. How was your ninja training? Said a happy Tsunami as she put the food on the table, much to their delight, though Kiba was acting more like a pig than a dog or human from his manners, though a good whack from Shino stopped him from further embarrassing himself. It was good, Tsunami-san. I never knew using such control was required in that form of way when it came to tree walking, said Shino, who ate the soup in front of him as it was very tasty to both him and his insects. How was your day, loser? I bet you got weaker because you didn't do anything, but the lame job of guarding Tazuna, said Sasuke, smirking, thinking he was one step closer to getting stronger than Naruto. Only you would think that, Uchiha. The fact is I already have far superior control than you, and I proved it later today when I summoned a small army of shadow clones to the bridge to guard over everyone working there besides Tazuna. To summon so many and not become tired requires precise control down to th last drop of chakra. So don't tell me I became weaker because in summoning so many shadow clones I became stronger in the process, said Naruto, calmly eating his soup contently while ignoring the black-haired boy's glare and slight king intent at him. So Sasuke wants to become stronger than Naruto, huh? Well, I'm sure I can help in that department, seeing as I was the fourth student I could teach the boy things only know. Anko did say the best way to get back at the fox was to hit him where it would hurt, and that seems to be Naruto. If I can get Sasuke to Naruto's level and have Sasuke defeat the fox vessel, I can injure Slade's ego greatly enough to rub it in his face in front of everyone back in Konoha, thought Kakashi while pretending not to be interested in the rivalry that was now started between the two. As if on cue, Inari came in with a sour, depressing look on his face as he looked up slightly up to see the slightly banged up genins and their senseis eating the dinner. As from the day before he sat down at the table in the only remaining seat there was with the same downed look on his face that made Kurenai realize just how much truth were in Slade's harsh words when he spoke them. In fact, at one point Kurenai could almost smell the stench of depression that Slade claimed he could smell when walking around town and this house. So she finally understands. Good, thought Slade, sipping his drink calmly as he saw the realization hit Kurenai with the force of a 2,000-pound boulder. Why do you constantly train when you're not going win? You don't know anything about this place and yet you're helping us anyway for the sake of money. You are nothing but typical thugs and mercenaries who don't know what it means to suffer, said Inari out of nowhere with tears in his eyes and his arms trembling with anger at them. However, such things left him as a wave of pure anger, hate, and king intent filled the room, making everyone start sweating in fear at the source that it originated from. Naruto stared at the boy with his hands grasping the now splintering table in front of him, all the while ignoring Dragona's and Slade's mental commands to stop scaring the crap out of everyone. You want to talk about suffering? Kid, you don't know what suffering is, said Naruto, his words going from human to demonic as he slowly stood from his seat, his eyes now blazing with a fire that was literally coming out of them as he disappeared and then returned in front of the kid, now grabbing and lifting him up by the collar of his shirt. Inari at this point was terrified beyond belief as he stared into the hellfire-filled eyes that were flooded with all forms of pain, anger, depression, and sorrow that he couldn't even begin to fathom. Naruto, put him down. Now, said Slade, rising up from his seat as to say that if Naruto didn't put the younger boy down then would have to fight him. Naruto looked at his sensei before looking back at Inari, saying his last few words before letting the boy go. You want to know what it means to suffer, Inari? Try living in a no-good-for-nothing village who hate you with every fiber of their being for something that was not your fault. Try surviving having to grow eyes in the back in your head. You try to take beatings, being injected with poisons, and starving nearly to death before you go telling me what suffering is. You have had family and friends most of your life, while at your age I had to fight just to live. You may have suffered, Inari, I won't deny you that, but until you've walked a mile in my shoes you know nothing, said a still angry Naruto before he threw the scared boy against the wall before leaving and slamming the door behind that. It made large cracks on the wall and door itself. No one moved after that as everyone just looked at the door in silence, as no one in the room had felt such hatred and rage in a single person before over what it meant to suffer like another person had. Slade sensei, did Naruto really suffer as he claimed he did? Said Sakura, sounding almost like Hinata, while the said girl pressed her index fingers together so hard she thought she was going to break them off. Size, that, and then some. You all had family growing up to make you feel important and special, but Naruto had none of those things as he lived in an orphanage. They weren't exactly nice to him, and even after he left, the village in general hasn't been nice to him for secretive reasons that the Hokage has banned me and your senseis here from telling you. If you want to know why, then ask Naruto later when he is in a better mood, as only he is allowed to tell you. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to go talk to Inari, said Slade, getting up from the table to speak to the boy who had fled to his room upstairs to cry. Inari's room. Inari sat there holding a picture of a smiling man with a small cross-shaped scar under his chin without a care in the world. Why can't I be strong like you? Said Inari as his tears covered the glass protecting the picture. Because you lack the necessary will to fight for what you believe in, my boy, said Slade, who was now standing several feet behind the boy with his hands behind his back. What do you mean? You mean like, said Inari, only to stop speaking when he got a solemn nod from Slade indicating the answer to his question about Naruto was a yes. Naruto was once like you, my boy, only his condition was far worse growing up, as he just told you downstairs. He is the very definition of what it means to suffer at the hands of other people. Naruto had to survive with no parents, no friends, and if he tried to, the kid's parents would shoo him away, telling their children to stay away from him. At least you had parents and your grandfather growing up, while Naruto didn't even know about his until a little less than a year ago, only to find out they were If you truly want to make that man in the picture proud, as well as to a certain extent Naruto, then I suggest you find something or someone worth fighting for and grow backbone, like Naruto did, said Slade, turning around, leaving shutting the door to Inari's room gently to let the boy dwell on the master saboteur's words. Outside, Naruto was fuming at what the kid had said to his face about suffering, and it was winner to make him want to the kid up, burn his body, and bag his ashes for his mother to put in an urn. It didn't help that Naruto was walking on water and the water was boiling from the chakra oopshoot he was using to stay afloat, all the while his right hand twisting to let out his frustration in some way. Don't let the kid get to you, Naruto-kun. Like you, he had it rough, it's just he didn't know that you had it even worse than him. The kid is only 8 years old and you're 12. Don't let this get to you. Please, said Dragona, whispering her words into his ear from his arm out loud for others to possibly hear. You're right, Queen. I have been arrogant at that fact that there might be someone like myself who knows what it means to suffer. Still, I can't let this anger go, I have to burn it off of me. How's your latest, princess, of a daughter coming anyway? Is she ready to depart for Demon World yet? Said Naruto, flexing his bandaged arm, as it was that time of the month when a new dragon was made that was a female one. Yes, she's ready to go when you are, though let's do it away from the home as it might scare everyone here and their neighbors down the road, said Dragona, as she was glad that for the moment it had been resolved. Naruto nodded and died as such on the water, not realizing that a certain Hyuga Hinata was listening from the roof of the house, as she was slightly confused as to who he was talking to. Naruto-kun, was the only thought Hinata had at the moment, as she followed Naruto as she had done the water walking exercise before and had now jumped onto the surface of the water. Naruto was now good 500 feet away from the house when he carefully rolled up his shirt's right sleeve before he unwrapped his special bandages from his right arm. All the while he felt the movement of his dark dragons inside of his arm. He had to admit it was getting crowded in there, as they were all being confined to a single arm during the birth. He barely used any of them unless he had to. It was only natural that his right arm would start become more and more compact with dark dragons. Ready, Queen, said Naruto as he finished the last of unwrapping the bandages, as his hand was now covered in dark fire right after doing that. Here we go, said Dragona from his right arm, who loved being called Queen by Naruto as it made her feel special in a dark dragon sort of way, as Naruto removed the ninja and white headbands on his forehead, exposing his Jaganai to the moonlit night. Naruto kneeled on the water itself by channeling chakra to the front part of his legs as he felt the princess dragon work its way through his outstretched arm till it reached his hand, till it formed a dragon's head. Before leaving his arm, his chakra flared to use the dragon in his hand as it left him still be connected to him so it wouldn't go rogue or consume him in the end of this removal process. The said princess dragon turned to face her father, with its hollow eyes and fire dark flame, as if to see what one half of her creators looked like. I can see why mother loves you the way she does. You are handsome for a young mortal boy like yourself. I'm sorry that I have to leave you now, as I must go to Demon World to become a queen dragon like mother, said the princess, with a sad look on her face, though it was hard to tell if she was sad, as her dark-fired skin could not really show facial looks all too well. Naruto stood up at that moment and with a gentle left hand touched the dark dragon's face, honoring the burning touch as it would soon heal right after. I know, my dear. Your mother has already explained that to me and I accept it. All I ask is you make me proud, said a now smiling Naruto, taking his hand away as it soon became healed from Slade's powers. See you later then, said the princess dragon as a dark portal now opened up for her thanks to Naruto's left hand and Jaganai. After she entered the portal, everything was quiet and tranquil in the water, though anyone who could sense chakra could tell something had just happened where he was and were now scared less. Reattaching the bandages and lowering his sleeve back down to its normal elbow-length state, he made his way back to the house, only to stop seeing one Hyuga Hinata there looking at him with a face that was hard to describe. Did she see what I did? I must have been so preoccupied with the dragon I didn't notice, thought Naruto as he closed up his Jaganai and put on both headbands before walking towards her. At first Hinata didn't know what to expect, as she had used her Byakugan to see him from a long-range distance. When she saw him pry the dragon out of his arm, she was terrified at first, and even more so when the dark fire-colored dragon became slightly affectionate towards Naruto. Even when he somehow opened the portal with his strange third eye, she didn't know what to think anymore. Naruto K-kunai, I'm sorry said Hinata, who had been stuttering nervously as she was slightly afraid that he would be angry and hurt her for discovering his secret. It's okay, Hinata-chan. To be honest, I was going to tell you and the other eventually when more trust was established with them. However, I'm not mad at you if that's what you are thinking. I just want you to know that I'm still the same old Uzumaki Naruto you saw a year ago. Nothing about me that you know of has changed. Okay, Hinata-chan, said Naruto as he touched her face with his bandaged hand with caring eyes that stared back into her white ones. Why yes Naruto, you understand, said Hinata as she could not fear him for what strange dark power he wielded, as he had been nothing but kind to her and she knew deep in her heart he would never hurt her. Thanks Hinata-chan. I'll explain everything to you later, but for right now let's get back to the house and sleep, said Naruto, kissing her lightly on her head, making the girl blush a new red as she couldn't believe that Naruto kissed her like they were a couple. Had it not been the remaining fact that they were both on water, Hinata would have fainted then and there. Fortunately, that didn't happen with the help of Naruto's speed, as they were now back at the house faster than Hinata realized. Good night Naruto-kun, said Hinata in a whisper, using all of her courage to not stutter those words. Good night Hinata-chan. Sweet dreams, said Naruto in an equally quiet whisper as he went to his room, silently ignoring Slade's clone, as the original one was now inside of him, resting till tomorrow morning when the clone would be dispelled and he would be fully awake again once more. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.